I did the pat. So I got to do number 6. So number 7, we're going to do a DHCP pool on the firewall, which is a little bit different than doing it on the router. Okay, you have to use the DHCP-D daemon, very similar to setting up DHCP on a Linux server. Okay, so we can see that. All right, so in setting up a DHCP pool, we're going to set it to serve up IP addresses for the inside network. All right, and we're going to set up a DNS server of 42222. 4222, sorry. All right, and ensure that the inside address of the firewall, which is .1, 10.0.0.1, is the default gateway. Okay, so if you remember, the initial settings of the firewall had DHCP server on it. We took it all out. Okay, so we're going to go back and put it all in. So the DHCP-D service, which is used with the command DHCP-D, okay, all right, you will go ahead and set this up with an address pool, all right, and range. So DHCP-D address, the low range and the high range. The low range and the high range. So I don't tell you what IPs to exclude, but if you look on the network topology, you see that you have, .1 is your gateway, and then you have a server here at .10. So basically, I would start it anywhere above .10, .11, .12, .25, whatever. And give yourself a pretty good scope there. So I'm just going to start at 10.0.0.100. Dash 10.0.0.200. And then you have to tell it what interface is going to be is going to be serving up this pool. So we're going to set it to the inside interface. Oh. So if you do it above 32 addresses, it's going to say, hey, you only do 32. It'll set it for you. Okay. To set the DNS server, DHCP-D, DNS. And then the IP address of your DNS server, which I said is 4222. Real simple. Okay. Now to set the IP address for the default gateway, you have to understand what DHCP option to use. So you might have to Google that, or hopefully you're paying attention. The DHCP option for a default router, which is your default gateway, is option 3. All right, sorry. DHCP-D option 3, IP, and then the IP address of the gateway, which is 10.0.0.1. That's it. So if you do a show run, you'll see that you have your DHCP address range. It's set for the inside. Option 3, which is for the default router, is set to 10.0.0.1, and your DNS server 4222. So all 3 commands. That was number 7. Okay, so number 8, I'm going to assume you know how to put a username on a router. Okay, we've been doing that for a couple of labs now. So to do it on the firewall, it's pretty much the same syntax. So username, and we wanted admin or administrator. Case sensitive again. Okay, there are no privilege levels on the firewall. I don't think there are on this one. Yeah. So just password. There's no password or secret. It's automatically hashed with MD5. So password and then the password which I say set to change it. Okay. Again, very similar to a router, you know, but a little more simplified. Okay. To log B here, we want to set the router and the firewall to log 10.0.0.10. So the firewall is pretty simple. Their syntax is very similar. So I think we'll let you do this with firewall's not going to do it because it's not in the that kind of sucks. The command that you would do if this were a real firewall would be logging space host space the IP address of the logging thing.
Can you make an object to it?
But there's no way to tie it to for logging. Okay, which is kind of weird because you would think they would have that because you can set up log at the end of an access list. No problem. Still have to do it on the router though. Okay. So here's the tricky part with letter B. Okay. So that username is only like a couple of points. The logging is a few more points. You still have to set up logging to your IP address. Okay. So logging host our the IP address is the same as well, so it was 10.0.0.10. Okay, so that's all you have to do on the router. Okay, however, we've not set up an ACL yet on this firewall. Okay, but you need to pay particular attention. The ACL is the next task. For that syslog traffic to traverse through the firewall, what do you think has to happen? It's got to be part of that ACL, right? Otherwise, it's going to get blocked and the packets will drop. Okay, this is why I say, hey, read all the way through the lab, because there are people here that are going to miss this and they're going to lose a couple of points. All right. So we're gonna come back to letter B on firewall 1, but we're going to start going through number 9. Okay? And remember, you previously natted. Okay? So, with the way that the operating system works on the router, as packets are coming into the interface, on the firewall, as packets are coming in on the interface, the outside interface of the firewall, right? It's not like a router where a packet comes in the interface, it hits an access list, it passes that access list, then it goes to the NAT engine, it gets unnatted, then it goes to the routing engine. It's a little bit different. When the packet hits the interface, it actually looks for a route first. Excuse me, it actually looks for a NAT first. It gets unnatted, then it goes to the access list, then it goes to the routing engine. So it's a little bit different. So you have to understand that even though I say, hey, remember you natted, it's kind of a tricky question, all right? Because if you put the public IPs in there, you're gonna get it wrong, okay? You have to understand the order of operations of a packet through whatever type of device that you are administrating, okay? And you have to understand that when you look at the release notes of the software, the configuration guides, etc. Guys, even if it's by the same manufacturer, it's processing packets differently when they go through the device. That's the main takeaway here. Okay, so we've already created objects. Yes? For all those servers and what have you? All right. And with this, there's a couple different ways you can do this in the firewall. Both of them are correct. Both of them you'll get points for. You can reference the object names in the ACLs. You can reference them by IP address. Both are correct.
Would names be easier?
Honestly, it is up to the sysadmin, however better they're going to remember. Okay? That's a difficult question to answer. All right. So, let's go through some of the ACL, and we'll go back to 8B. So, I want to allow SMTP and POP3 to the mail server. So, the mail server's address is 192.168.0.21. So, I need to make an access list. I'm going to make a named access list. Okay, so this is outbound traffic coming in, out-in. That's arbitrary, you can name it wherever you want to. All right, then I have to tell it whether I'm permitting or denying traffic. Okay, whether it's going to be an extended access list, which it is, and then the protocol. So in this case, both SMTP and POP3 are what? It's TCP, right? Okay. Again, there's several different ways you can do this. You can make this one line at a time. That's fine. You can create a service group and put both POP3 and SMTP in there. That's fine too. All right. Whichever way makes you happy, it's all correct, because in the end, if the packet gets to its destination, you win. Okay, so I'm going to show you the simple way, just doing it by IP address. So going back to what I was doing, access list, out-in, extended, permit, TCP. We'll be on both POP3 and SMTP or TCP. All right. Where's the source? I didn't specify, so assume from anywhere. Where's the destination? It's a specific IP address, so we're going to use host. And then the IP address of that server post-NAT. Post-NAT, which is 192.168.0.21. And then EQ, whatever your protocol is. So here I can do question mark and I will get SMTP or POP3. You can put the port number in there. Again, they're both right. So do POP3. Okay, for SMTP, it's all the same with the exception of the destination port. I can hit up arrow, delete POP3, and put 25. I can put SMTP there as well. Same thing. So that line's done. Okay. Allow BlackBerry services from 201.60.108.75 to the mail server. Need to look up what those BlackBerry services are. Okay. There's a couple. I'm only looking for two in particular. You get those two, you're fine. Again, kind of a trick question. You'd be like, oh man, I know it's so easy. It kind of is.
When I pulled it up for lab 2, it only... Okay.
All right. So allow web and HTTPS from the internet to your web server. So we'll do that one. That's pretty easy. So access list, out-in, extended, permit, TCP, any host. What's the IP of the web server? It is 13. .192.168.0.13 EQ www or 80 for HTTPS. Same thing. Up arrow makes it simple. Okay, you can put HTTPS here, or you can just put 443. Oh, it didn't like HTTPS. Why did it not like HTTPS? It didn't like HTTPS because it's not in the list. In a normal firewall, it would be in the list. So that's fine. We'll put 443, same difference. All right. Allow access to your FTP server for anonymous FTP access. So with anonymous FTP access, you have to do how many ports, anybody? 2. So you need data and control. So port 20 and 21 FTP. Yeah, wrong one. So the FTP server is .25. Yeah, I confuse everything between the mail server and the FTP server. I didn't say any. Yeah, any host 192.168.0.25 EQ 20 Vero 21 20 and 21. I'm looking for it. And allow DNS zone transfers from 4222 to your DNS server. So the DNS server's IP is 0.53. So, access list, out dash in, extended, permit, up. DNS zone transfers, what protocol? UDP or TCP? Zone transfers.
UDP.
Huh?
Isn't it UDP? It's not.
It's
connection.
TCP for drone. Lookups. DNS lookups are UDP. Okay. Host 4.2.2.2. Host 192.168.0.53. EQ, and I think you put either DNS or domain will be DNS, so you can put domain or port 53. Either one will work. All right, so that kind of puts me through all of that work. However, going back to 8B, remember, we need to get syslog messages through here. Okay? So, you have to understand how traffic leaves the device just as well as it enters the device. So if R1 is communicating to this ADACS server, you already know the destination address, 10.0.0.10. What IP address is it going to come from? Well, the router has 2 IPs, don't it?
Or it should be on this side of the router.
Yeah. It'll be the closest IP. So it'll come from 204.184.21.29. So on your firewall, we've got to do an access list out dash in extended permit host 204.184 dot 21.29, and it is going to host 10.0.0.10. What port is? Oh, I forgot something, didn't I? What protocol does syslog use? Alright, so
I'm guessing.
I think in this case UDP. Syslog, protocol, and port. 514, forget if it's UDP or TCP. I think it's UDP. Okay. Actually, it'll do both. So, you have to kind of understand what your syslog daemon is going to use. And you can set up the syslog daemons to use UDP or TCP. Okay? For the purposes of this project, assume UDP, because that's how routers send syslog messages. They send them by UDP. So assume UDP. It's going to be prevent UDP. I'll go back here. Access dash list in dash out dash n. Extended permit UDP host, the IP of the router, which is 204.184.21.29. Host, the IP of the server that's acting as the syslog server, which is 10.0.0.10. And the port number is 514. That's the syslog port number. Okay? Now there's one other thing you have to do. So what did I do with all the servers on the DMZ last time around? What did I set up in order for them to talk or be able to be looked at between interfaces? I had to set up NAT, right? Okay, so even though I'm not changing, I'm not putting a public IP on for that 80 server, which I don't want to. That would be like really, really, really bad security practice. I still have to set up a NAT statement so it translates it on one-for-one fashion between interfaces. Okay, so if I do show run, and you can go back and look at how we set up NAT. We had to set up an object. Right, so I have a network object for the inside network, but I need to set up a network object or a host object for, I did web and mail. I need to do one for that syslog server. Okay, so it's only talking syslog, it's not talking AD or anything else. So I'm just going to call it syslog. So here I want to make an object, network, call it syslog. The host is 10.0.0.10. And now I have to NAT it. Okay? Now I have to NAT it. And if you are ever confused, you can do a show run and go look at your NAT statements. There they are. Queue out. So NAT, again, this is inside to outside, outside to inside, it doesn't matter. It all works the same. .0.0.10. That's it. If you don't do this, that communication will not get there. If you don't make that access control list entry on your ACL for syslog, traffic won't get there. Okay. Last but not least, you need to ensure that R1 knows where the 10.0.0.0/24 network is. So, it's always a good idea. I don't know if we did this last time or not. Let's look at the routing table. Show IP route. I got the 134 networks, 204 networks. Ooh, there's no 10 network there, huh? It doesn't know how to get to the 10 network. So we got to tell it how to get to the 10 network. So in R1, we need to make a static route. And if you are only going to be sending traffic to one particular destination, it's just a better security principle to set up your static route for that, not set it up to go send to the whole network. Make sense? So I'm looking for a specific static route to the 10.0.0.10 server. IP route. We have to tell where it's going. 10.0.0.10. Exact IP, not the network, exact IP. If I'm looking at going to an exact IP, what is my subnet mask going to be, you think? So if I'm sending a packet to anywhere on a default route and my network is 0000 and my subnet mask is 0000 because it's anywhere, what do you think a specific subnet mask would be for a specific one singular IP address?
It's going to be L255.
It's not hard, guys. So if I'm all zeros to go anywhere, if I want to go one specific IP, what would the subnet mask be? All 255, right? 255.255.255.255. Match all the bits. That's what the subnet mask is saying to do. Match all the bits. And then, well, how do I get there? Well, I got to get there via 204.184.21.30, which is the next hop. Okay? That's not written in the lab. That's not written in the lab. So if you didn't catch that, okay, it's not an Easter egg. You don't get bonus points. You'll lose some points. And then I forgot to do one thing. What did I forget to do with the ACL and the firewall?
You forgot to apply.
That's right, I forgot to apply it. So, if you remember in routers, we had to go to the interface to apply the access list via the access-group command, right? Everybody remember that? Okay. In a firewall, you don't have to go to the interface. You do it in global configuration mode. Now, here's the trick part. If you actually go into the interface and put that command in the interface, it'll still take it, and it'll still put it in global configuration mode. So if you forget that, you're not going to lose. So don't worry about it. All right. So here, access-group, the name of your access list, which was out-in. The direction it's going, okay, so this is going to be traffic coming into the outside interface, and you have to tell the interface, which is outside. Okay? Access-group, out-in, the name of the ACL, the direction the traffic is traveling, inbound, on interface outside. That's how that's read. Okay? Now let's look at the running configuration. We've done quite a bit here already today. So we added our additional object. There's our ACL. There's our access group. And we added our additional NAT for our syslog server. We added our username. We did add the logging command on the router. Oh, wow, we just got through like 2 questions. All right. Then you have to create another access list. Here we have to create an ACL for on firewall 1 to allow servers on the DMZ to access the Active Directory server by IP and AD servers. AD should be blocked to all other systems except the inside network. That's a little tricky. What do we have at the end of an ACL? An explicit
Deny.
So you're going to have that anyway. You're going to have that anyway. Now you can put a deny statement in there, but you don't have to. All right. So for ACL for number 10, again, we have to do what? To tell the DMZ network about the AD server, we have to put what type of a statement in there? A NAT statement, right? A NAT statement, right? No problem. So we can put a second NAT statement in here, but Packet Tracer doesn't like that. Okay, because if I put in the NAT statement again under the network object, it's going to overwrite it. because packet tracer just stinks that way. All right. But I can do something else. I can put in an standalone NAT statement. Will it let me do that? Again, packet tracer is not the greatest in the world. It's not going to let me do it. Nope. Okay. Network. Why are you not functioning today? Object. Object network, and then syslog. Okay. Now, if I put in a NAT statement here again, it's gonna override it. So in this case, it would, instead of inside outside, it's gonna be inside DMZ. All right. Static. The mapped IP address is going to be 10.0.0.10 again. But when I do that, I look at the NAT object. Yeah. You can see that it overwrote that outside inside. So don't worry about that. If I see, don't worry about the NAT in this case if you're doing the packet tracer. All right, so let's just write the ACL. So the ACL, I'm going to just type in DMZ dash in. Permit, what did I want? I wanted 80 server by IP and 80 service. Oh, wow. Okay. So I make a lot of lines here, wouldn't I? Because I got BIOS, I got SMB, I've got NetBUI, I've got a lot of different protocols. Okay, three right there. So instead of creating a bunch of different lines, I'm going to create a service group. I'm going to create a service group. Okay, this is one of those times where, yeah, you know what, a service group's going to take less time to do this. So I'm going to type in object. Dash group. Service. And I'm just going to call it AD. All right, and then I'm going to specify my different protocols. So all the protocols for Active Directory that I'm looking for, I'll take just a handful. All right, are going to be TCP. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and that creates my service group. Okay. Now, if I want to do TCP and UDP, I could have done TCP-UDP, but I'm only really looking for the TCP protocols in this case. So from here, I can put in a port object, a description, or take stuff out. So port-object, okay, and I can do a range of ports, or I can do a specific port. I'm going to do EQ 135, which is NetBIOS. Up arrow 139, NetBUI. 445 SMB. We need to put in 26. Barbaros. Okay, you also need to put in DNS as well. That's kind of important. So, oh wow, I should have probably done this UDP and TCP. Oh, okay, I'll go back and fix that. But here's your primary ones that it's looking for. 139, 138, 135, 389. And it changes a lot of times from time to time, depending on what version of Active Directory server you're doing. Okay? So, no problem. Let's take a look at that object group. Okay? We can just take it out with the no command. Right? And I'll put it back in. Object dash group service AD, I'm going to make it TCP and UDP. TCP and UDP. So I need 135, 139, off of 138, 445, and I go back here. Password change is 464, I don't know about that. 369 global catalog. 53 DNS, kind of important. $389. That's queries. So, you know, you get a handful of ports in there, that's fine. Should be good. Okay. Now with that object group, I can write my access list with just one single statement. Okay, referencing that object. So object, I'm sorry, IP access dash list. I'm sorry, I'm on a router. I'm on a firewall, not a router. Access dash list, DMZ dash in. Extended, permit, and now I can reference my object group because I can't put TCP and UDP, so I'm going to reference my object group here. Object group, the name of the object group, which is AD. Now I look at source and destination. So you know how we referenced the ports, the port numbers of services at the end of the ACL. When you're working with service objects, it's actually at the very beginning of the ACL. Keep that in mind. Okay, it's a little bit different syntax when you're working with groups. You guys thought you were done with programming, right? All right, so my source is going to be, I want it to be the entire 192 network. All right, so 192.168.0.0. That's a class C, so 255.255.255.0 because I have to put in the subnet mask. But the destination is a host. All right, host, and then the IP address, which is 10.0.0.10. Okay. Or what else could I put there? What else could I put there instead of 10.0.0.10? Well, if Packet Tracer will let me, I could put an object name. Did I not name the server? I named it what? Syslog, right? I could do that too. Guess what? They're both right. Both are acceptable. So I can put host and then the IP address. I can put in object and syslog because I named it syslog. So object network. it doesn't like it. Stinky packet tracer. So put the IP address in there. Valid object type. Wow, that really is terrible. Did I mess up on the naming of the object group? No. All right. If you want to do the individual ACLs, that's fine too. If you do the object group, that's great. I'll take just the one entry for one of the protocols if you do the object group. I don't care. I really hate packet tracer. All right, that's it. Gotta fix this next word. All right, so number 11. We're running out of time here. Number 11. Best practices: lockout CDP, your aux port on your router, service password encryption, yeah, all that good stuff that you've been doing in the previous labs. You're not over that. Number 12, I'm going to try to do on Monday because that's a little convoluted. That's going to take me about 30, 45 minutes. I want to get a little bit onto homework coaching. So at this point, it's a good place to save your lab. We'll come back and we'll do the VPN on Monday or next